Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Patrick, this is a fascinating bunch of topics here, and I want to get on to one here and your opinion on this. You talk about a concept called tokenization, and you have an article about real estate. Define to this audience what tokenization is so people understand this. And then again, I have a couple of comments about that too. It's interesting. Tokenization. You mentioned before something called a future book that might have a tagline, "You'll be happy. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy." But what's tokenization?
That's the title of my book, by the way. It really is.
Hey, I came up with a good one. I didn't even know that. There you go.
Well, I know that the subtitle, "The New Economics of Technocracy, You Own Nothing." The reason I wrote this simple article is people have been asking me forever, tell me what tokenization is all about. So here's the title of my article. It's on the homepage right now. Tokenization, a 7th grade explanation. Okay, so I'm
all ears. Go right ahead, my friend.
I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anybody, but this is what it took, and lots of people chimed in immediately. Oh, thank you for giving me an explanation that I can understand. Nevertheless, let me tell you what tokenization is about, and I'll use the example of your house, for instance. And I'm not saying your house is going to be condemned or put in the ether sphere or whatever. I'm just giving an example, okay? Say you own a nice house, maybe $1 million, and you have an opportunity to tokenize your house, and you can split it into 1 million different shares, if you will, and sell those shares around the world to anybody who wants to buy them. Sure. And once that process is done, you might have some tokens in your pocket, but you're not going to own the house at that point because you just gave all the wealth away that's associated with your house. And here's the problem. You can't, when a property is tokenized, its value is lifted out of the property, spread to the four winds, and what you're left with at this point, here's the scenario. You can't live in your token. You can't improve it, fence it, or hand the keys to your children. You hold a digital entry on somebody else's computer system at that point that says you have a claim on a fraction of the house. If the house burns down, gets condemned, or gets seized by a government, your token doesn't protect you in any way like a deed or insurance policy would. The token is only as good as the platform it sits on and the rules that platform enforces. Does this make sense?
Well, it does, but on the opposite side of the equation, I've been listening and speaking with individuals and doing some research on my own that, let's say, in the securities world, there obviously are some benefits in this new economy for people. So in your opinion, though, you're kind of delineating, you're talking about one sector for tokenization. I mean, what about the people that have an ability to show people how they can create wealth through this? And that may be an experience that many people who maybe say didn't have a gigantic portfolio now have the ability to participate in an economy and create some wealth for themselves. What say you?
It might be the case that somebody will make some money along the way. I wouldn't put a bet against it necessarily, but the problem with tokenization is that it strips the property rights away from the original owner, and whatever they might have as a user, like as a renter or a leaser or whatever on a property, you'll have usage rights, but you will not own the property yourself outright. This is sweeping the world. Larry Fink at BlackRock has said multiple times in public that everything that can be tokenized will be tokenized. And then just incidentally, 3 weeks ago, the New York Stock Exchange, actually the firm that owns the New York Stock Exchange, they said blatantly they're going to tokenize the entire stock, every stock on the New York Stock Exchange we're talking trillions of dollars of assets.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Interesting.
So
let's go to the. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you short.
Let's get a caller in.
Let's go to line number 5. He's been patient. Robert in New York City. You're on with Patrick Wood. Thanks for your patience. Robert, are you with us?
Hello, Dr. Sky. How are you?
Doing well, sir.
Thank you for taking my call. And Patrick, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you. And I'm very interested in your views on tokenization. And just to pick up on, I guess, the last conversation you had with Dr. Sky here, I would agree with the comment you made about Larry Fink. Larry Fink has said that, and it has said as much as anything that can be tokenized will be tokenized. I think that's a positive development for some of the reasons that Dr. Sky was alluding to. There are a lot of assets out there that don't really have access to investors. I would tie this in with a comment that you and Dr. Sky and other callers have made about oligarchies and about concentration of wealth. If you look at President Trump's trip to China, he brought the top executives with him from the major companies. We have a problem in this country when it comes to getting capital to perhaps the most important sector, which happened to be private businesses. And in this country, we have over 33 million businesses. Less than 1% of them are public. And so the balance of those businesses really don't have access to the capital markets. And tokenization and coupled with alternative trading systems give them an opportunity to present themselves to investors. So this way, both investors can benefit by getting in on high growth companies, and the companies themselves can access growth capital. And I'm just curious to get your view on this field.
Interesting.
Thank you for the question. Number one, I understand your position. I've heard this argument made, and it's a good one. But here's what you're going to trade. There'll be a trade-off. Put it this way: are you willing to give up the right to own private property in America?
No.
I'll ask that question.
Not.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem with tokenization. It will strip Americans of all their property in the end, because property will not be owned by you. Once it's tokenized, you can't claim ownership over that property. It'll be managed by somebody, maybe a management firm or whatever, but you won't own anything at that point. You might have lots of tokens in your pocket. You might have some use of a property because you lease it now, but this will spell the end of private property in America. This is what makes America great in the first place: private property. We can't dare sacrifice the principle of owning private property.
Robert, you get an opportunity to respond here. We're all pressed on time with many callers,
Okay.
but no, you bring up some very insightful points. Please continue.
Thank you, Dr. Sky. So, Patrick, I see it completely from a different perspective. I would say that tokenization reinforces the right of a property holder. And to your point about you losing control, well, you always have control because you don't have to sell those tokens. You can tokenize the security, and there are a lot of value in simply doing that, but you don't have to sell the tokens to anyone. You can maintain ownership 100%. Tokens are good for people who are looking to sell assets or a interest in those assets. You could sell all of them, or you could sell part of them. Would be a great way to perhaps monetize an art collection, a coin collection, or a private business.